Welcome to Season 3 of the Builders Podcast. I'm Matt Levenhagen. Here we share the journeys, strategies, and lessons that help entrepreneurs build what's next. Builders helping builders. Enjoy the show. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another The Builders. Today, we are joined by Silyana Bojilova.
Right, you got it.
Okay?
Yes.
Okay, I tried. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
So, she is a serial entrepreneur. We've established that. She's got a lot of things going on, a lot of things she's done. And we were just talking about how she manages all that, all those ideas, like all of us that have lots of ideas. And we might get into that a little bit. I'm going to try to remember to. But you also do a little business consultancy you're trying to develop. And you're got a co-working space you're partnering in, or what are you doing with that?
Well, I founded the co-working space with my first co-founder 4 years ago, but things weren't going as planned. We both had some entrepreneurship experience and have launched things and were professionals in IT for a long time. And we thought we know it all and we've seen it all and it will be a success, but it wasn't the success we expected. So it kind of started slower than expected. And so at the end of the second year, he was like, I'm out. Good luck with everything. And so I had to find another co-founder. And I kind of found him really quickly. And he is a perfect match. So we work really well together. He's a very smart businessman. And so it's been 4 years now.
Oh, nice. Well, congrats. So we'll get into, that might be part of the story today. We're going to basically talk about the story, your journey, your origin story, kind of how you got started and in the world of work and entrepreneurship, and what's all led up to what you're doing today and all the lessons within there. And I feel like you've done a lot of things, so should be an interesting ride. So with that, I'm going to kind of throw it to you, and you can kind of tell us, start wherever you want, as far back as you want, whatever you think is interesting and makes the most sense to kind of share your story, and we'll draw the lessons out of that.
Okay, thank you. I hope it won't be too messy and I can keep a straight line in the storytelling. Yeah.
Okay, well, that's what I'm here for.
Yeah, I hope.
I'll try to keep us on the rails.
I count on you. Thank you. Yeah, well, my story, I grew up in the worst possible neighborhood in the capital of Bulgaria. And later on, when I was fourth grade, somewhere around 11 or 12, we moved into the best neighborhood in the capital. And this was around the same time where I lost my mom and I went living with my aunt. So it was like unrooted from the neighborhood I grew up in and put in a totally different environment where I didn't know how to, people are used to a certain way of doing things in different neighborhoods and they're like, it's a culture on its own. And so being taken out from one space and like planted in a totally different area.
Yeah, that's pretty dramatic. Sounds like it must have been crazy.
Yeah, it's been a ride. Yeah. And I looked very different from everyone around me. I had my hair really short and I had these square earrings. And on the first day in school, in the new school, in the best neighborhood, I'll call it like that. I went there and everyone was looking at me in some sort of way and they're like whispering and talking. And I will never forget this, the first class was a gym class. And so I'm going into the changing rooms, of course, the ladies' changing rooms, right? But they thought I was a boy. And so a few years later, they told me that when I entered the ladies' room, they were shocked because they thought I was a boy.
Oh,
and
no.
the whispers in the beginning were like such a cute new team, like a classmate we are having this year. So it basically sums up my entire existence, surprising people and being taken for one thing and I'm being totally a different thing at the end of it.
Oh, so that kind of set the pace. You're like, now you're comfortable with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I am a very resilient person. When I started looking into the entrepreneurship, starting my own business, startups, and this kind of culture, I was going to different events and learning of it little by little. And then people were saying, what are the qualities that an entrepreneur should have to be successful? And one of them was being resilient. and not
Hmm.
being afraid of falling, because falling is part of the process, and you are not failing
Right.
unless you quit. And every failure is actually a lesson learned. And so I like to think of myself of being a super resilient person and with a very high tolerance for risk. So I guess this is what always drives me forward and is still driving me. Even when I was studying abroad in France, I went there for 5 years for my university studies. It was a very rocky road. It wasn't smooth sailing for all the 4 years until I decided to come back home. So I guess being resilient and having a high tolerance helps a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we hear that a lot, right? I mean, everyone's like, gotta be resilient. You learn, even when you fail, you learn all the lessons, but it's true. I mean, it's at the heart of it. I mean, if that's, especially for entrepreneurs, you got to have that tolerance for risk and you have to just be a go-getter
Yeah, and be okay
and
to
just try
fail. I
stuff.
mean, it's
Yeah.
like trading, right?
Yep.
You
Yep.
have to be cool to lose the money in order to be able to take decisions calmly in the right state of mind without any emotion. So it's kind of the same.
Yeah, I think it takes a special kind of person. I mean, even when I was younger, and I remember really young, maybe as far back as you're talking here. Like, I tried so many different things, and failed at a lot of things. But something in me was like, there's just, I don't know what it was, but it just kept moving. I'm like, okay. What's the next thing I'm going to do? Well, I
Yeah.
didn't like doing that. Let me try this other thing. Well, that didn't work. Well, those people, I'm not going to work with them. They're jerks. I'm going to go do something else. Like. And I was trying to find that, and maybe it's the same for you. What are you seeking? You're trying to find something that you're passionate about and want to show up and do every day, and you don't want to do something. You don't want to live a life where you're doing something you hate. Hopefully, but
Yeah.
you find your way. You went to college. You went somewhere else though? Did you say France?
Yes. Counts.
And how did that go?
Well, since I was very little, I was brainwashed to go and study abroad and move and not live in Bulgaria anymore and live somewhere else. Like find my happiness and like the dream, the American dream somewhere else. And so I
Okay.
was I was kind of brainwashed and I really believed that, which goes back to what we believe and what we make true for ourselves, and how we sometimes lie to ourselves and do things that are not authentic to us. And so I
Hmm.
went there. I lived for 4 years there. But the first year, my brother helped me financially, but then because everyone else that went with me, we were a few people from my school that went together at the same time in the same city, in the same university. They were all going back for the summer, for the entire summer. And I was expecting to go back for the entire summer. And my
Yeah.
brother was like, no, 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 no. You have to stay and you have to learn how to earn money. And next year I'm not supporting you anymore. So you're on your own. Yeah. And so that was that. I couldn't support myself, work and study at the same time because I was studying in law. So I was going to the classes and everything, but I wasn't able to keep up with everything. So I quit law the second year and I started sociology, which was way better for myself. So I was trying to find my way for those 4 years, and I finally found it when I came back. But I learned a lot. It was an invaluable experience to be on my own for 4 years, make my mistakes, know myself, because only when we are in this type of situation, counting on ourselves alone, we can know ourselves and know who we are and what we can do and what we can do. And so I'm very grateful for this experience. I loved it. I wouldn't change it for anything. I would go again. But the thing is that the resilience, I guess, part of it was built there because there was no way I didn't see any way of me going back before I made the decision to go back. So it was 4 years of making it work at any cost. So it was an
Okay.
interesting experience, like
Yeah. Yeah.
burn the bridges and burn the boats kind of
Right,
experience.
right, right. You're like, I'm either going to be on the streets or I'm gonna make this work. And yeah, yeah, when you put
Yeah.
yourself in that situation where you have no choice.
It was
Yeah, I mean
absurd.
that's
It was absurd. I was sleeping on the floor of a 9 square meter room, and my balcony was bigger than my room. and my bathroom was bigger than my room. And I was
Oh
sleeping
my
on a mattress
gosh.
on the floor. I only had a radio, and I was listening nonstop to French radio, which helped me with the language. But still, I mean, it was
Yeah.
a very miserable life, but I'm very
Yeah.
grateful for it.
But that's great because it's like I think well there was something in you you wanted to succeed. Obviously you had this thing like in you you weren't going to fail. You're going to find a way even if you have to sleep on the floor, whatever you got to do. I remember there was times, I've been kind of revisiting my past a lot lately. I've been thinking a lot about the old days, and I remember this time I was struggling myself. It was like I didn't have much money or no money at certain points. And I had to move back home for a while and I remember I wanted so badly. I live in Milwaukee. I'm still here. I never left in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And I remember I just had this goal. I was going to move back to Milwaukee and and it took me months to get a job. And at that time I didn't have much experience and I was just trying to find something just to pay the bills, get back. And I remember I finally just made the decision and I moved into like a motel for like a week. You could like rent them for like week to week or month to month or something, probably week to week. And I remember I moved in there and I'm like, I'm back in Milwaukee. I'm in like some small little room, like this is not a home. And luckily I had a friend call me up and said, what are you doing? Come move in with us. They were living here too. And I moved in with them, ended up being roommates with them, but that's life. Sometimes you got to really just push yourself, take the risks, put yourself out there and just in the environment you want to be in. And you meet the right people and, yeah, that sounds like exactly what you were doing. You were like, this is what I'm going to do. I have my vision, and you're dedicated to it. So that sounds like it was a good experience, and you're forged in that experience.
Yeah.
You become you figure out, like you said, who you are, like what your values are, what you want to do with your life, and just who you are as a person.
Who you are, what you're made
And
of.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, what you're made of. So you made something of yourself there, and did you move back to Bulgaria? What
Yeah.
did you do from there?
So
Yeah.
back then, it was between 2003 and 2007. So back then, I didn't have a cell phone or anything that I could dial back home. So I was using those prepaid phones,
Oh
attached to
yeah.
the wall, kind of prepaid phone, really old ones.
Yeah.
And so I had this habit of calling back home every other day, like my aunt and my grandfather. So I was calling them, and one day I was on the phone with my grandfather, and he was really old. But the thing is, it's like an inside joke. I am a Leo, a sign Leo. My aunt is Leo, and my grandfather was a Leo. So we are
Oh
in
wow.
every generation one Leo. So we had this special bond, the three of us. And so I was calling her, and if she wasn't able to pick up, it meant she is with my grandfather. And so we had this habit of this tradition. And so one day I'm calling, and she's not home, so I dial my grandfather's home, and I spoke with him on the phone, and I was like, "Okay, Grandpa, I'll be home in few months. We'll play cards together," because he taught me how to play some cards when I was younger, and this was our thing, etc. And then it just slipped up my tongue, and I was like, "You will wait for me, right?" And at the moment I said that, I knew he wouldn't wait for me. And so he died a few weeks later, and
Oh
I wasn't
no.
able to go back home for his funeral.
Yeah.
And this really did something for me, like something shifted, something broke. Of course I was heartbroken, but something else broke, and I was like, okay, I don't belong here anymore. It doesn't make
Mm,
sense. I'm kind of treading water here. It doesn't make sense. And so I made a decision to go back home, and that was one of the best decisions I have ever made, because as soon as I got back home, everything um kind of went in his place, and things started happening faster and better for myself, in terms of career, in terms of personal relationships, in terms of friendships, in terms of my self-esteem, if you want, because I made a decision. I stood up for myself, because no one in the family was okay with me moving back home. Remember, they were like, no, you're meant to live somewhere else. You're not meant to go
right.
back home. Like, this is no longer your home. Make your home there. And so I was like, no, you're wrong. This is my home. And so I went back, and I don't regret it. and that was one of my best decisions ever. Um, yeah, a lot of things happened since. It was 2007. So like 17, 18 years from now, things were very different. Luckily for me, the outsourcing IT wave just started in Bulgaria, so I was able to find a good job pretty quickly. And so this is how my career in IT started.
So IT was a thing in Bulgaria at that time. It was
Oh,
becoming a
it was
thing.
just
So you were
starting
just
slowly. Yeah, the first hints of an IT hub, outsourcing hub, started there, and then and there in
okay.
2007, where when the first companies, like international big companies, huge American companies, and not American only, but still a lot of them, outsourced their
Hmm.
support teams to Bulgaria. And so
Oh,
we
interesting.
were supporting companies. I don't want to make any publicity if it's not allowed, and I'm not sure if I can name names, but a lot of like international companies were here, and we started supporting them in various different languages, like
Yeah,
English, French, Spanish,
you can
German.
name some
I
names.
can
You
name
know what?
names. Okay, so one of
I
the names
think.
it was Xerox, HP, stuff like that.
Okay.
So yeah,
Yeah.
so I was supporting like Nokia for a long time. If you have an issue with your smartphone, you can always reach out. I'll help you.
Oh yeah.
People to this date reach out to me for phone support. They're like, "How am I doing this on my
Nice.
phone?" And with their
That's
printing
funny.
machines. Yeah, it's funny. It's
Yeah.
funny, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's part
No,
of the
that's
story.
yeah.
It's
People
part of
don't
the journey.
forget. Like I
Yeah,
know you know what. I have this problem.
yeah.
Yeah. No, that's very cool. So you must have met somebody, or just you just happened upon this some work in that arena.
Well, no, not really. When I came back, the only thing I could actually use to find a job, because I didn't have any other experience than waiting, because this is what I was doing in France to support
Oh,
myself,
okay. Yeah.
was the language, the French language I had, which was at a very good level back then. I was speaking almost without an accent, like a native speaker. And so I said, okay, let's see if I can find something with French. And this is how I found the customer support role with French for Xerox, and where I started my career
Oh.
in 2007.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, yeah. So,
So so that kind of that got you into that. How long did you do that?
oh, just for a few months, I immediately find out that it's not for me, and
Yeah.
so yeah, I kind of hopped around in different roles until I found something that I really liked, which was a more analytical role. It was a contingency team for Nokia, where we were responsible of refunds and returns. So we were the decision maker whether a claim is up for refund or a replacement or something else. And it was in like what I liked about it is the fact that you can see all the facts and then make an assessment of the situation, and then based on the
Mm,
assessment, which was more objective than subjective, but still there was the personal touch in it, like your proper analysis of the situation. You could determine whether it's a refund or a return or a different, like a credit back or something else. And so this is where I kind of discovered that I like much more the analytical things side of the job than the actual doing of the support role. So
gotcha. So this is good because I mean that's how you learn. You know, like you didn't know that until you got a job like that, and you were trying different things, and you didn't like that, and you that I talk about this all the time. It's like
yeah,
this is a very normal journey for many of us. It's like, well, how do you? Because you don't have no one gives you a blueprint and says this is your path. Here, go. I mean, some people seem to figure it out early. Like they go to school, they get a job, and then they do that for the rest of their lives. But that's more and more rare, I think, especially among entrepreneurs. Um, so you did that for a while, and did you find your way to working for yourself at some point, or do you have some more jobs in between there?
yeah. Well, the first time I took an interest in entrepreneurship and tried something on my own was when I was pregnant with my first child. She's born in December 2012, so it's been 13 years now. Well, my first
Oh,
entrepreneurship endeavor was in 2011, 12, something like
okay.
that, where I started experimenting and knitting with giant yarn and trying to participate in different like expos or summits, or I'm not sure how you call it, fairs, and sell the scarves and the hats and the
Oh wow.
blankets and yeah, and things made from
Like you
giant
just like
yarn.
Why did you choose that? Just some was it something you had learned or picked up along the way? You enjoyed doing
No,
that kind of work?
I just love the craft, all sorts of crafts.
Okay.
So I kind of loved it back then. This was still very new to Bulgaria. No one knew about it. Like I was one of the first to find about the giant yarn and import here and start doing stuff from giant yarn. And I think I learned some of my lessons with that experience.
Yeah.
But
What was that experience like? This is your first time trying to be in business for yourself and sell
yeah,
stuff, and yeah,
well,
what
I
was that
learned
like?
that you need people to help you and support you. You cannot do it on your own. Even if
Mm,
you want to, you cannot wear all the hats and be successful with it in it. Yeah.
gotcha. Well, yeah, yeah. So you hired you hired a team, or you
Well,
hired?
I hired my mother-in-law, which was helping with the baby while I was at the fair, and my father was there as well. So everyone was helping in their
Oh,
own
okay.
way.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but I figured I cannot do it on my own, and I need to be able to rely on other people and ask for help and be focused on what I do best instead of trying to do everything poorly. So yeah.
Yeah, you have to kind of have yourself a good support system and people like stepping up to help you, even to watch your child and while you're out there doing your thing. Um, that's that's good. So you're learning that, and how long did you do that for?
Maybe for a year, something like that.
For a year
I
like that?
lost interest pretty quickly because I understood that it's all about the customer experience. So the customer experience doesn't end when people buy from you. It's the
Mm,
after sale as well. Like it goes for as long as they are using the product or the service or whatever you're offering. And so
right.
I ended it when I find out that it's not something that I can guarantee the quality of for a longer period of time when they use it. So because the yarn in itself was something that was degrading in quality with time, like the more you use it, the more it degrades and it kind of looks funny. It's not that
Okay.
nice looking like in the beginning. And I wasn't happy with how things looked with time after some like a period of time they were used. So I knew I couldn't guarantee the quality and the experience after the sale for a longer period of time that I wanted. And I was
So
like, okay, so I'm not doing this. I mean,
so the decision would have been like, could you find different materials or like something else to make these things with, or but you just decided that
well,
this wasn't up to par, and yeah.
it's a high maintenance type of wool and yarn because it's a non-threaded yarn, and so naturally it has its hairs
Mm,
sticking and going out. So it's not a smooth thing; it's like a hairy thing. And
mm.
so, in order to make it look smooth, you have to thread it between your hands for some time so that these little pieces they don't fall apart and don't go all over your clothes and like where you store it, or a baby if you're having a baby and you're using the blanket for the baby. And so the fact that you're threading it to avoid the little things of going out and like spreading everywhere degraded the looks and degraded the
Okay.
quality and like the niceness. And so
Yeah.
I wasn't happy with the result, and I was like, no, I'm not doing this anymore.
Yeah. I mean, well, it's like anything. You got to care about the product itself, the quality of it. And if you're not, and this was just, you tried it and you call that a failure or whatever. The materials failed you.
I mean, yeah, I had a different expectations. This is something else I also learned in my experience is that you have to be able to set the right expectations from the beginning. So if
Mm,
people know what they're getting into with what you're offering and the expectations are clear and are set from day one, then it's a different story. Instead of
right. Right.
discovering them along the way and have
Yeah.
everybody have a poor experience and be betrayed by what they were hoping for.
Right. Because when you're starting out, you don't know yourself a lot
Yeah.
of where this, yeah. So then you put it out there and then you start getting the feedback and then you're probably like, oh no. So what did you do after that? Did you start another business or what did you end up doing?
Yeah, I like I said, I love crafts, so I was trying all sorts of things, like bracelets from stones that you can put essential oils on them, like essential oils mixes for like hormonal changes and stuff like that, natural remedies, a lot of things. I mean,
Yeah.
more
I,
most of them, like maybe 80% of them are still in the basement and in the garage and stored here. So
Yeah,
yeah.
that's awesome.
So yeah.
Yeah, you're just kind of trying everything. You're looking around, like all the things you could do and different ideas, but you were kind of in that whole craft situation. Maybe did you have an idea that if you found that thing, that maybe you could scale it up somehow, get people to help you with it, and did you have that already in you, or was this something you were just I'm gonna just create stuff myself and sell it?
Yeah, I wasn't thinking that far down the line when I start. I mean, when I start anything, I'm not thinking about the scaling, about every step that I have to make. And it's not pre-planned. It's not organized. It's not a blueprint that I'm following. I just try to keep
Right.
the vision alive, like where
Yeah.
I'm going, what I want to reach in terms of an outcome or a result, and then I like one step, one day at a time, like one foot in front of the other, and just whatever comes my way, I handle it. And this is how I'm doing. If it's time to scale, I'll scale. If it takes more time, then it takes more time. If I happen to meet someone that will help me scale, then the better. Like, I mean, it
That's
really
actually
depends.
great. That's actually
Yeah,
that's actually great because you have an open mind about it. I guess as I look at my business too, my business is, I'm in the digital world, web design development. And when I started out 7, 8 years ago with this agency, I was on my own. And I'm like, let me make it work on my own first. I'm doing all the work, wearing all the hats, and then an opportunity comes, and you take that opportunity, and the next thing you know, you're adding a team, and it just kind of happens because you just build
open
on
to
what
it.
you're open to it, and yeah, exactly. So eventually, though, where did you end up going? Did you find something
Well,
within that worked, or did you end up doing something completely different?
no, it was always a side thing that I was doing
Yeah.
while I was pregnant, or as a side. I wouldn't say a hustle, but you know what I mean, like a side thing, like a hobby, while I was
Okay.
working my 9 to 5. So eventually, I went back and like in my previous job after my maternity leave ended, and
Okay.
so I was
So
presented
you're
with an
doing so you're doing
opportunity.
a 9 to 5. You're working while you're
Yeah,
just trying to get something going on the side.
yeah, yeah. I'm
Okay,
kind of
that makes sense.
so I to me, this is not a burden to find something curious, something that
Hmm.
sparks my interest, and dive into it while I have my life going on in parallel, like my
Right.
family, kids, dog, cat, like everything. Like life happens, but it never stopped me from being curious, from exploring opportunities, from finding things that excite me, from like diving headfirst in every opportunity that is ignites a spark in me. So I guess this is what I
Yeah.
was doing. I was kind of following my instincts and my curiosity for um, everything that's presented itself as an opportunity to learn something new or to
Yeah.
like yeah, to try
I think
something
some
new.
people are just happy with, going to work and then forgetting about work and, then family
I
but some of
admire
us,
how people
yeah.
can forget about work when they step foot in at home. I could
Yeah.
never do that.
Yeah. You always got to have
How about
something you're
you?
thinking of. Yeah.
Are you thinking about
It's the
work when
same.
you're home?
Well, because I run my own business, I'm thinking about it quite often. Like always, like I could be working right now. But that's why you come up with, like I do actually some art on the side, and I've been doing more of that recently. And that's something that it gives me something else, a craft to do. So I don't have to think about work all the time. the actual
Yeah.
the actual agency and stuff. I love what I do. It took me decades to find it. So I love the creativity and the work I do with web design and stuff. But at the same time, you don't want to only be thinking about that either all the time. You want to, and some of us, yeah, I mean, I've had that where I've had jobs in the, long time ago where I would come home and forget about the job. And the job was so easy, like I'm thinking about bartending. Like I bartended for years, and I got so good at it where I just go behind the bar, go through the rhythm of the whatever the night, and then I leave, and I'm like I forget about it and do whatever I'm going to do. And at the time, it was actually art as well. But yeah, I mean, but it's you're always for some of us, we always are looking for something. Like you have a especially if you're working for somebody else, like it sounded like there was something in you that you were you wanted to do on your own, that you wanted to create something and create a business of some kind.
Yeah, I have that bug. I don't know what the name of the bug
It's
is,
a
but I
bug. It
certainly
is a
have
bug.
it.
It's a
It is a
builder.
bug.
Somebody called it a builder's bug the other day.
Yeah,
Like, I'm going to steal that. So we're taking that. Some of us have the builder's bug in us. We want to
yeah,
build stuff.
yeah. And I think a lot of it is like when I was little, and it was 1997 when my mother died, and I was with my aunt and a friend of hers at the sea coast, and then she was, I'm not sure what the word is, but she was reading the stars and making the horoscopes. And so she
Okay.
told me that I will have career in a role that doesn't exist right now, and I will help a lot of people. And so I
Oh,
kind of took that and I integrated it and I believed it and I accepted it as my truth back then when I was 13. I don't remember, 13, yeah. And so I accepted that and as my purpose. And
hmm,
every time when I applied for a job or I was offered a position, I was like, is this or is it not? Yeah, okay, it matches my purpose and my destiny, so I'll go for it. Until recently when I started questioning this. But I guess the bug also in itself is, am I serving my purpose? Is there something more I can offer? Like, how can I give back? How can I,
right.
what kind of legacy I can leave with everything I've learned and I've done and I know what will be my legacy? So I think part of the bug is also being this person that builds things and have a legacy and helps other people.
No, I love that. I think having your why, your purpose, and wanting to leave something behind, like you want to have an effect on the world. I have that bug too. Like, I want to impact, whether it's through this podcast or whether it's through the work I do or art eventually. I want to leave something behind. And I think, sounds like you're the same way. And I think that does help drive you because it helps you. You're less prone to just settling and just
Exactly.
living
Yeah.
day to day and being, one day to the next and not, just working for somebody else and their dreams, working on, helping somebody, I mean,
Building someone else's dream. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, somebody has to do that too, but, but some of us need more than that, but that's great. And then, so where do you end up? Like, what do you, like you're doing today with the consulting and stuff? Where's that bridge? How do you end up where you are today?
Okay, so the first time the company I was working for got acquired was back in 2019, right before COVID hit. And I was supposed to stay there for 6 months after the acquisition and secure the roles and the people in the company not to leave like scared for the future, right? So
Hmm.
my role was to stabilize everything for the next 6 months after the acquisition was announced. And I love that role, but I was more interested in the M&A side of the things. And so I asked when the time is right at the end of those 6 months, can I maybe join this M&A team or like be attached to it in some capacity, keep
What
doing
what
my
kind of
job,
what kind of team was it?
M&A, merger and acquisition.
Merger and was okay. Gotcha.
But there wasn't such an opportunity back then. And I was like, okay,
Mm.
then I quit. And I gave my notice and maybe I had a 3 month notice. So maybe a 1 month in. So I'm opening just a disclaimer. Every time I decided something like a change of job or a career change or something else, and I was sure of it and nothing could change my mind, everything around me was saying the exact opposite. Like either economically it wasn't the right moment, or financially it was difficult, or I was the bread earner in my family, or this didn't make any sense, or
Yeah.
the external circumstances were saying the opposite, and I still believed I have to do this and this is the right decision, and I was never wrong to do that. So the belief in yourself and the trust in your intuition and what's right for you, whatever it without regardless of the external circumstances, is a very strong motivation and a very 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 strong. And so this was a situation like that. So I was certain that I am making the right choice by quitting, although like 1 month in my notice, COVID hit, it was announced even in Bulgaria, like in the States a little bit before that, but
Mm.
later on in Europe. And then my boss back then came to me and said, you can take your notice back and you can keep your job because there uncertain times are coming and we're not sure what's going on and we don't want you on the street because of something that happened a few months ago and we didn't know what's coming at us. So if you would like, if you want, you can stay. um, but I never go back on my own word, and like I try not to betray myself first. And so I was like, no, this is a decision. I made a decision and I'm doing it. And I quit and I opened my consulting company. That was the first consulting company I opened in 2020. And it scaled so fast in just the 3 months without any ads, without any website, without like nothing. It was just word of mouth. People that I knew that I told that I'm doing this now, and they started bringing me clients. It scaled so fast. In 3 months, I was working 16-hour days and I wasn't able to
Oh,
keep up. Yeah, it was crazy.
wait,
Um,
why did you think consulting? What was the consulting bug? I mean, why
Well,
make
like
that move?
freelancing, consulting, project management, because I had experience in project management, in writing technical
Right.
specifications and functional specification, and working alongside engineering and product teams and support teams. Like I've seen it, like pretty much all except the marketing side of things. And so I
So you're leveraging everything you've learned and through your job and all your experiences, and you're like, okay,
exactly.
I know this stuff and I can help others.
Absolutely. So I was
Yeah.
project management, like a freelance project manager back then. Yeah, but I mean, you can only do so much if you don't have the structure and the people around you and the team to support you in that. And like when you know this, of course, better than me probably, but the business on its own has at least 8 different aspects, like the different teams or departments in it, and they
Yeah.
all have a specific skill set and knowledge required to do them properly. And you can't just physically, like it's humanly not possible to know everything in those 8 areas, main areas of the business. And so it was very naive of me thinking that I can do this on my own, alone, and do it successfully. So I had to find a solution.
Okay, so so that was for the consulting. You just
Yeah.
realized you were doing too much and wearing too many hats. I mean, you could start small though. I mean, in the beginning you don't need to know everything. You can figure it out as you go and focus on the things that have the most impact.
Mm,
And
certainly.
but you were scaled up so fast. You're working 16-hour days. Were you kind of headed towards burnout? You're kind of like, this is
I
too
was
much.
right there. Yeah.
So what was the decision then? You just scaled back, or you decided this wasn't
I
your
scaled
thing
back.
either?
I scaled back. I when
Yeah.
the projects, they have their life cycle, so they started aging out little by little and like
Mm,
completing. And so I just stopped taking new projects
mm.
and I kind of freezed that for a while until I can recuperate.
Okay. And then what from there? What did you end up doing?
So then, oh wow, that was another very exciting period. It was 2020 and COVID hit, and there was this hackathon announced here in Bulgaria, Hack the Crisis Bulgaria, where we were
Mm,
supposed to come up with ideas how to help communities, families, or individuals. And it was an amazing initiative that I found on LinkedIn. And I was like, okay, I'm doing it. But I didn't have a team. I didn't have an idea. And I was like sitting on my bed one night and I was like, I am so doing it, but I don't know where to start from. And so I started reaching out to friends and ex-colleagues and asking around, like, do you want to participate with me? Do you want to join me? We're doing it. And they're like, no, it's not the right time. I can't. And they all said no, basically. But I was so deadlocked in this idea. I was like, no, I'm still doing it. Even without a team, I'm going there. And so I signed up.
I love this about you. You're just like, no, I made a decision. I'm doing it. You're not going to stop
Right.
me.
And then everything like gets sorted out on its own as soon as you made a
Yeah.
decision, because I did it. I went there, I signed up. I had like 2 or 3 ideas. So the Slack back then was composed in this way. So you either have a team and you don't have an idea, or you have an idea and you don't have a team and you're looking for teammates. And so I
Okay.
posted my idea and I was looking for certain profiles, and people just started coming in and applying. And like from the moment I posted until I had a full team, a developer, marketing person, a lawyer. Um, like we were four or five of us, and everyone was in their own lane, like responsible for different things, like the graphic designer, the developer to build the site, the lawyer to help us with documentation. Like we all had like we were wearing our own hats this time. And so
Yeah.
I built a team in no time, and we were all equally involved and equally invested and equally um, touched by the idea. And so we
Uh-huh.
were helping families that have lost their jobs during COVID and were with little children at home and no income whatsoever. So this was
Okay.
our goal. These were the people that we were helping. And we ended up winning the hackathon, which was like when I think of something that I achieved that I'm really proud of, this is one of the things that always come up in my mind, because we were not shortlisted. We were not semi-finalists. We were not part of the 15 that moved on the next stage. And then I reached out to one of the organizers and I was like, but we have proof of concept. We collected 900 requests and we've managed to deliver like few dozen packages already. Even if we are not part of the finalists, can you get us in? And he was like, well, let me ring some phones and I'll get back to you. And then he reached out back to me and he said, okay, you're in. You are allowed to participate in the finals. And we won. Like, how cool is that?
Okay. So what is the hectone?
Hackathon, it's usually a weekend worth of like 48 hours maybe worth of time non-stop. Usually they're coding hackathons, so you build something like an MVP of an app or a
Oh, okay.
different coding solution, like something you build something. Usually it's a coding hackathon, but in this case it was a solving for the effects of COVID on society.
Right.
That was the
Okay.
hackathon purpose. And so people were building different things. We just happened to build a service that was
Yeah.
helping families that lost their income, that were all working in the services industry that closed, shut down basically because of
It's
COVID.
amazing. And you won.
And we
You
won.
knocked
I
out of
was
the
look
park.
I was watching the finals live and they were announcing backwards, like third place, second place, whatever. And I was like,
Yeah.
there's no way we're winning. There's just no way. I was on my bed and when they announced our name, I screamed from the top of my lungs. I was that
That's
excited.
awesome.
It was crazy. I wasn't
Yeah.
expecting it. Yeah. It was
Yeah.
amazing.
Fantastic. So that opened any doors for you, or where'd you go from there?
It
And
did.
you,
It did. Actually, this is how I started working with startups for the next 6 years now.
oh,
It kind of
wow.
opened the doors for me because one of the organizers, the one that I reached out to ask if we can
Hmm.
still participate in the finals, he reached out then and said, okay, you have this like 15 years experience building customer support teams, working with customer support organizations. My company needs someone like you. Would you like to come and consult and join my team and help me build my support team? And this is how we started. And then we then worked on a different startup together, a mobile app company. And then like we were building mobile apps from scratch for different businesses, B2B basically. And then um, this is how it started. Then I went on consulting like a um, chief operations officer, but consulting, like I think it's fractional COO in nowadays, how you call that. So I was a
Yeah.
fractional COO in another startup, business development startup. It was basically business development and sales growth services type of startup.
Wow.
Yeah, and this is how it went for a few years, and then I opened the co-working space, and I never stopped mentoring and consulting startups ever since. And also teens. There is this program here in Bulgaria called Teen Innovator. I'm not sure if this is something in the
Mhm.
US or not. It's a 9-month program that teaches teens from 16 to 18 what an entrepreneur is, how to start a business if you want to start something of your on your own, what are you solving for, what are the skills and stuff like that. So we pitch in front of investors with the kids, and yeah, they get to experience it all in 9 months.
You're doing some fantastic stuff.
Thank
Like
you.
I just feel like from your roots to where you are today and that journey, and even like doing the crafts and stuff on the side to what you're doing today is like all of that kind of stacked and built, and this person we're talking to today, we're just doing, you're not only just doing stuff like building businesses, but you're having are having that impact. Like you're doing so many, you're always thinking like, how can we help people? Like I just know it. Like that's, you're looking for opportunities that where you can have, really help people. But so you're doing the kind of fractional stuff. And yeah, so everything's going great. So
It
you
is.
feel like or you feel like right now you're doing what you were meant to be doing the whole, what everything led up to?
I'm getting there. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm closer now than ever before. 2 years ago, I participated in this seminar where they were offering, at the end of it, they were offering a 12-month program to scale up the business, even if you don't have any money, like to start something from scratch. And I didn't believe 100% of what they were saying, but I was curious enough to sign up. And one thing led to another. And when I was supposed to come up with a product or a service of my own, I started asking myself, what do I know? Where's my zone of genius? Like, what am I an expert of that I can offer and I can have 100% confidence that I'm competent to guarantee the result? And I was thinking, what brings me joy? And the ultimate joy I get is when I can provide this mentorship and this advice, and people are getting results when they apply it, and they're happy and they're getting their outcomes, and they're moving faster than ever before, and they're collapsing time doing what I gave them opportunity to do, like outlining them different options in front of them, and they listened and they applied it in their own way,
Mhm.
not necessarily 100%, in their own way, and it brings results, and they're happy and they're grateful and they get their own results out of it. This is what I'm most happy about doing, and so this is what I'm building now.
That's wonderful. That what you just said there, and I think this is a perfect way to land this episode. And then we can talk about. I think there's a lot of different. Like I would love to have you back to talk about more of the building you're doing actually currently. I'm sure there's tons of lessons that things we can talk about that could help others, our audience. But the thing you said, like asking yourself that question, and I've had to do this for myself along the way as well at various junctures. Maybe when I got burned out doing something or I, needed to pivot for some reason, it's asking yourself that question, what brings me joy? I did this. That's why I do web design development today. Back in like 2011, 12, I'd been doing internet marketing for like 10 years, almost 10 years. But what we were doing, what I was doing wasn't working anymore. And it was harder, and the landscape had changed dramatically in that time frame because I started in the wild, wild west days. But I had reached a juncture where it's like knew I needed a change. And that was kind of this, I don't know if I said it that way, but I'm like, what did I enjoy doing the last 10 years the most? And sometimes even I did a lot of marketing, internet marketing and affiliate marketing and advertising and did all these different things. And I had my own digital products and I had ran memberships, did all this stuff. But there was one particular thing for whatever reason. Some other people would have been like, that's ridiculous. But for me, it was like, I liked building websites. I like tinkering. Sometimes I would like spend more time on a sales page and tinkering, like fixing that button, or I'd see somebody else's button broken. I would say, your button's broken. And they wouldn't fix it. It would drive me crazy. I remember one specifically. I had a friend who had a sales page, and he had this button, a sales page that I knew was broken, but he never fixed it. And it always drove me nuts. To this day, I wonder if it's still out there. But that's the kind of thing I'm like, that's where my joy is. Like for whatever, and that comes from my creative. I'm a creative person probably and stuff. But that's beautiful. And for you to ask yourself that in that moment, I think a lot of people. I mean, it's like just because I think ultimately, right. That's a successful life is to find that thing that brings you joy and be able to show up every day and do that thing. And it's even better when you're helping others in the process.
Yeah,
Love that.
like what would you do if you have to do it for free for the rest of your life, and
Right.
feel joy of while doing it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, this was a great episode. I appreciate you sharing your story. It was a fun ride. And it's like you said, I mean, like every time I just had an episode, a solo episode, talked about a lot of this stuff where like it was, like it's not a straight line for a lot of us. But all those things you do, it all stacks up. It all, everything. informs the next thing, and you keep getting better, and and eventually that opportunity comes that you weren't even expecting, you weren't planning for. No one gave you that blueprint or that roadmap, and here you are. But great. Thank you for sharing that, and we'll see. We'll think about a second episode. And we'll have you back soon, and we'll go from there.
Thank you so much. Pleasure was all mine. It was great to
You bet.
have the opportunity to chat. Yes.
You bet. Until next time.
Thank you. Until next time. Bye-bye.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Builders Podcast. One more quick note about our sponsors. At Unified Web Design, we're passionate about doing better together, partnering with agencies and businesses to deliver exceptional web design, development, and ongoing support. And UnifiedLabs.ai is where we explore smart, practical ways to integrate AI directly into your website and e-commerce flows. From intelligent chatbots to marketing automation to back-end reporting, all with a strong focus on user experience and making your systems work smarter. If you haven't already, subscribe or follow to stay updated on future episodes. And if you enjoyed today's conversation, sharing it with someone who might benefit helps us grow this amazing community. Until next time, keep building smarter, bolder, and with purpose.